I just want to get something off my chest about Howard University because I think it's very important. And we have it confused, right? We think Howard University, with its $700 million endowment, is actually in the game. We think it's the black Harvard, it's the black Yale. No, but it's not. It's not, because to be the black Yale, to be the black Harvard, you need Harvard's endowment. You need Yale's endowment. Georgetown's endowment, right next to Howard. Georgetown University, right next to Howard, double the endowment. Howard's cruising in at $700 million. Georgetown, 1.6 to 1.8 billion dollars, right? Billion. I said million, I meant billion. Georgetown, 1.6 to 1.8 billion dollars. Howard University, 700 million. George Washington University, the other white school in DC, $1.8 billion endowment, because that's what you need to run a major institution in DC. We don't have what it takes to function. We don't have the resources, what it takes to function. So we need to look at they get all these $1 million from blank and blank, or they could call alumni. No. You don't understand the money it takes to run a major institution. Black people, you just don't know. If you're saying that, the administrators get paid too much. No, they don't. They don't. Especially since part of their job is pretending that the university isn't always about to fold. Right? So the president gets paid $500,000 a year. You think that's a lot of money? Sure. Cut the president's budget cut the president's salary in half. You still don't have enough money to do major renovations on your dorm. There isn't enough. And then to have the actual staff and faculty actually be high level and live in DC, there isn't enough money. Right? So Howard's operating budget is $850 million. $850 million. That is the operating budget. So let's say the operating budget, let's say you somehow move that up to $1 billion. Let's say if somehow they had an extra $200 million in their budget for this year, it still wouldn't be enough to do all of the deferred maintenance they need to get done at Howard. It's not enough. They don't have it. They're us. We don't have it. So why I say that Howard University is us is you see a lot of black marriages that end in divorce because black people think that they can be pro-black by trying to get into a white marriage with black skin. But you have white aspirations. And so when it doesn't work because we don't have the capital flows that they have, it ends in divorce. It ends in confusion. Right? So you want to go to Howard to go to a black Yale, but it's not going to work that way because Howard doesn't have Yale's money. So there is no black Yale because part of what it is to be a black Yale is to have Yale's endowment. And there's no black institution that has Yale's endowment. So if you want a white marriage in black skin, that's not going to happen because part of that is to be married to an a-hole white guy with that, with those capital flows. That's all of our institutions don't have enough money to function in these United States because the United States doesn't have two prices. The United States doesn't have two prices for lumber, two prices for inspection. It doesn't have a black price and a white price. It just has the white price, and we don't have the money to pay the white prices. So our dorms have roaches, right? So this is why we need to make black people whole so that we can give to universities like Howard so that they could actually be made whole, right? Through private alumni. You need to understand that this is what it means to be a black institution, private institution that expects to be run by the largesse of black people. I wanted to go to Howard too. I was in that different world generation. I thought I was going to meet Kim there and we were going to be fine and because she was fine and I want Howard to succeed. Luckily I went to a state school. And, my Berkeley called me last week, said they only get 11% from the state and that they needed some funding. I didn't give them any money. But you have to understand that, Berkeley can call Berkeley alumni. And actually, Berkeley alumni have tech money. Howard can't call Howard alumni because Howard alumni are holding up the rest of their cousins. Yeah, what's up? I'm doing a little show. My kid's talking to me. You want to come say hi to the people? All right, come on over. So Howard doesn't have it. Come say hi to the people. All right. Can you say hello?
Hello.
And tell them your name.
My name is Bayard.
His name is Bayard. He's named after Bayard Rustin, a wonderful organizer. And who we see? Come, there's a smile. There's the camera. All right. So we don't have it. And we don't have it. And trying to pretend that we have it is actually part of the problem. We don't have it. It's okay not to have it. There are reasons we don't have it. It's not because we mismanage or anything like that. And telling Howard to just kind of cut administrative salaries is like telling black people to just like not buy hair weaves. The problem isn't the hair weave money. The problem isn't the administrative salary money. The problem is we don't have oil money. We don't have coal money. We don't really have tech money that we should have and we are owed. So, yes, my son Bayard is very cute. They think you're adorable. And I think they're right. He's also very smart and very strong. Can you say that? I'm very smart and very strong.
I am very smart and very strong.
He is very smart and very strong. Mm-hmm. So what? We don't have it. And if Howard administration actually just admitted that and like made it a national problem that the Black Harvard doesn't have Harvard's endowment, like that could be a fascinating discussion. But instead we'll just kind of pretend that we do have it, and everyone will be confused when it turns out that Howard's dorms have roaches. I'm not confused. Apparently the dorms have been in bad shape for a long time. But you're gonna come get your brother?
Yeah.
You want to come say hi to the people? Mm-mm. You don't want to say hi to the people? You don't have to say hi to the people if you don't want to. My other daughter's checking in. All right, so Howard doesn't have it. And there's no shame, and that could be like a point that we need to make, and we need to kind of like own rather than fake. We can't have the Black Howard, and black people are owed Black Harvard, and black people are owed more than that. We're owed the Black Harvard, Princeton, and you know who else doesn't have it? Morehouse. You know, one thing I liked about Stacey Abrams' run 2 years ago, in 2018, 3 years ago, was that it came out that she was $200,000 in debt. Here's Stacey Abrams, $200,000 in student loan debt, student loan and credit card debt, because she went to Spelman and then she went to Yale and she picked up, I think, a master's somewhere, and then like she got a big job, but then her parents got sick and she had to help out with like family stuff because she's black and she got black family and black family had black problems. So it turned out that she was $200,000 in debt running for governor. I think she's made that up selling out to everybody, but like that's what it means. Her opponent, Brian Kemp, the guy who actually won, was not $200,000 in debt from personal debt, right? And he had half the education and all that stuff. So what we just need to understand is that we are a broke people related to broke people, broke and struggling. And even if we're not broke and struggling, we don't have the capital flows to build meaningful institutions. And I guess that's if you take anything from this, we don't have the capital flows to build meaningful institutions. And what that means is, first of all, you need to go to www.funkyacademic.com and kick in $5, $15, or $50 a month, because I'm actually giving you the quality of knowledge that I think you're not going to get in mainstream media. So, like Joy Reid is not going to tell you that black people don't have it, right? But I'm telling you that black people don't have it. We don't have it to support a meaningful institution like like Howard. And we should. And so we need the government to step in to make us whole and to make Howard whole. Part of reparations would be funding, just like letting, like zeroing out 20 HBCUs and just giving them, like, I don't know, a $5 billion endowment that they can just draw. Just like, period. Just Howard, Morehouse, we like NAACP and Urban League can just pick 5 black HBCUs. And heck, 20 public and 20 private HBCUs, and just $5 billion endowments just like there. Boom. Just do it. And like that would be part of the reparations plan, because we need meaningful institutions, and meaningful institutions don't become meaningful by passing pennies around people who only have pennies. Right? So, but like not just, like none of the HBCUs have it. And this is why they actually, people don't know, HBCUs fired W.B. Du Bois. Clark Atlanta University, now it's Clark Atlanta, hired W.B. Du Bois, one of the like greatest minds of the 20th century, black or white or whatever. And they fired him because he ticked off a white lady donor, because he suggested that maybe she doesn't have the black students in mind when she gives a check, or their empowerment in mind, which is true. But we need to start the conversation with, no, Howard's not mismanaged. We just don't have it. It's got an $850 million operating budget, and we don't have the money to do that operating budget and deferred maintenance. And that's what it means to be a functioning university. So we don't have what it takes to function. We don't have the resources what it takes to function. And that's the same thing when you talk to someone on welfare who's like, buying nails or having a weave. Yeah, it's okay. They can buy that stuff because they don't have it to like actually have a down payment. No amount of not buying a weave gets you to a down payment, plus like maintenance on a house. So yeah, it's not the weave money. It's not the administrative salaries that like make it the case that our institutions aren't what they should be. It's that we don't have it because America stole it from us. And that's like, until we get honest with that, like we'll never understand like black degradation and all this faking. All of this faking because we don't want to admit that we have it. It's a misplaced pride. It's a pride that America wants to have in the wrong thing. Like we need to just admit that we don't have it. Our alumni doesn't have it. All of those millions of dollars. Yeah, you know what? But it cost billions to run a university. The real black Harvard wouldn't even have an $850 million operating budget. It would have a $2.2 billion operating budget because it has to make up like a lot of ground like for a variety of reasons, right? So like we don't have the resources. We don't have the resources to build meaningful institutions to compete with white institutions. And what we're seeing at Howard is an instance of that. But what you see in black marriage is the same instance of that. I said before, a lot of black people, a lot of respectability politics black people enter into marriage kind of thinking they're going to get a white marriage in black skin. You're going to marry a white guy with black skin. It doesn't work. It doesn't work like that, so they end up divorced. But because you don't have the capital flows. This is America. Things run on money. So if you think you get the black equivalent of a white thing, but not without white money, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. So we just simply need America to make us whole, and then we could talk about these institutions. But as long as we're faking it, or as long as we personalize the problems or privatize it, saying like, well, if I hadn't gotten my nails done, I would have had a down payment for a house instead of like no. If I hadn't gone to a movie and gotten my weave fixed, I would have had a down payment for a house. Like, no, you wouldn't have. I didn't get mad at anybody for any black person who did whatever they wanted with their stimulus money, their $2,000, because we don't have $2,000 problem. If you're poor and you're black, you don't have a $2,000 problem. You have a $20,000 problem, at least. At least. Actually, if you're poor and you're black, I could give you $20,000 and that still probably won't take care of all of your problems. It probably won't, because like that's a new car. That's a car that won't break down, as opposed to the car you have right now that will break down. And so like that's not even like that's not all of your problems. That is like it takes money to function in America, and we don't have it, and so we're not functioning. And instead of faking it, we just need to admit that we don't have it. We don't have it. We're broke. The U.S. made us broke. The U.S. needs to make us whole. Any more like a $400,000 problem. Yeah, you know what? If you give every black American $400,000, I think we would be right. It wouldn't lead to inflation. We would just be right. We'd be able to fix all of our stuff. We would be able to replace all of our stuff. We would be able to shore up all of our health care and health issues, and like fix, and like, you know, there'd be taxes. So like there would, a lot of that money would go to like black communities to fix their public goods. And so, yeah, someone says $400,000. Yeah, you give every black person $400,000, and then endow the crap out of our institutions. And I think we would be, and then ask me again in 3 years. Ask me again in 3 years. I might want to revise that, but ask me again in 3 years, and I think we'd be all right. But you have to endow our institutions, because even like you have to understand, when you have an $850 million operating budget like Howard does, that's annual. $1 million here, $2 million there. You don't have those kind of problems. The kind of problems you have are $50 million. I was at Berkeley when they made the capital campaign to build the Haas Arena, and I was talking to one of the donors because for a few reasons. So I was talking to one of the donors because I was the token black guy in the room at the time, and the donor said like, yeah, when we're raising money for the basketball arena, at first it started out at 45 million, then it started out at 50 million. He started smiling and like shaking his head. He's like, then it was like 53 million, and like these are the kinds of dollar figures they needed for a basketball arena. And that's not maintenance, because you got to understand, like 10% or 5% of that every year has to go to maintenance for a building like that. It's like buying a boat. A lot of buying a boat, you have to just, you think you're just buying a boat, but you're actually buying staff for the boat. So you have to think about what maintenance costs. So can you imagine the deferred maintenance on Howard University? It's not just the dorms. It's not just the dorms. So like they need a $5 billion endowment just like sitting that they should be able to draw from, not their piddly $700 million, because like it's just not enough. They don't have enough to have it to have the black Harvard, Yale, or Princeton. They don't have the money to do that, and they're not going to get it. Like depending on the largesse of Jeff Bezos' wife. I was about to say the largesse of black alumni, but black alumni don't even have largesse. All of their money is committed. All of their money is committed to their cousins who like aren't doing so well. So the black Howard alumni are still trying to pay off their student loan debt, not talking to anybody, and they're buying things on credit card. So like they could hit up all the black alumni. That's still not going to make up the shortfall for an $800 million annual operating budget. Like you could drop $200 million into Howard today to do all of the deferred maintenance and renovations, and then next year they would probably still have roaches. Maybe not in the dorms, but they would have roaches around, because I suspect they have more than $200 million worth of deferred maintenance to be done. Tucks to be pointed and lead point to be taken out and asbestos to be removed. So things cost money. Black people, we don't always know that because we don't have money and we don't run things. So unless you've stared at an $800 million budget or an $850 million budget, like you can't think you can just like surgically cut administrators and have a quality university, staff and administrators, and have a quality university that like will have enough money to do the deferred maintenance on all of its physical plant and still like make payroll and staff, right? So Howard University is like black institutions in general. So we don't have the money to do the maintenance on our car, and so our car breaks down. If we'd had the money to do the maintenance on our car wouldn't have broken down, but we've never had the money to do maintenance on our car, so our car breaking down because we don't do preventative maintenance. Howard University hasn't done preventative maintenance because they haven't had the money to do preventative maintenance. They've done some spackle jobs and hope nobody notices as they fake and floss. People talking about the black billionaire. It would take all of Robert Smith's money and to like be lumped in like we don't have it. Robert Smith is not going to say, like, Jay-Z can't save how. See, this is how NBA players go broke. They go broke thinking they could lift an entire neighborhood with their huge NBA contract, try to lift their whole high school class, try to lift their whole junior high AAU team, and it doesn't work. And they go broke trying to like fund all of their boys' businesses and all their hustles, and they go broke trying to buy their mom's house and their aunt's house, and they go broke trying to do the best thing. Try to lift up whole neighborhoods, but they're one person, not an institution. So they get confused. They think black personal money is will save an entire block, and it won't. Black personal money might save your family, maybe. But a lot of black people with personal money keep their personal money by changing their name and changing their phone number, not talking to their family. So you have to understand that what it means to live in a community that doesn't have it means that we can't have meaningful institutions on par with our white counterparts. And then understand, that's great. Mrs. Ford, you said it right. Black NBA players go broke trying to be the government. I'll say it again. Black NBA players go broke trying to be the government for their neighborhood, and they can't do it. Howard University is trying to be like the government for black people, and they can't do it. Howard University it can't do it alone. And no amount of surgical cuts will do it. We don't have it. So I hope this comes with a reckoning, but I think the Howard University folks, like good HBCU folks, will try to pretend that they're Hillman. This would be a different world episode because this is the truth. Don't pretend that this wasn't going on. Howard universities have been dicey for a long time. Don't pretend that we need to admit that this is us. This is us. And we also need to do 20 years after Hillman, 20 years after A Different World, and find out that a lot of people's dreams didn't work out like they thought they would. A lot of people's dreams didn't work out like they thought they would. And I think that would be fascinating. A lot of people are still paying off student loans who went to Hillman. All right. So thank you for your time. If you appreciate what I'm doing, go ahead and go over to www.funkyacademic.com and kick in $5, $15, or $50 a month, because this is an institution that takes money. This right here is an institution that takes money. I think I'm trying to make it the case that it'll clarify the problems in your life, lest you blame yourself for being broke or being in an institution that can't sustain itself, can't function like it's supposed to, because the members don't have money the way they're supposed to. Right? So thank you for your time. If you're just viewing now, go ahead and start this from the beginning, because it's a good video and it's important that it's not mismanagement. It's that we don't have it. You can find me on Patreon, or do I have Cash App? Yeah, I'll put the Cash App in the description. You can find me on Patreon. You can find me PayPal, but the PayPal takes credit cards. So just go to the site, funkyacademic.com, and kick in. All right. Thank you very much. And we'll be better off once we admit that we're broke as a people. Even if you have an uncle who's doing all right, or you might be doing all right, as a people, we don't have it. And if you think we have it, you haven't seen it. You haven't been around enough white money. If you think your black church has money, ask the Mormons to open up their balance sheet. Oh, that's a good example. Like, the black church can't support Howard University, but the Mormons can have many universities because they have it. They have the money. They have that white money. They have that white money that doesn't drink money. And so like they're all about making money, and they have those good government jobs because they sail right through the background checks. Anyway, enough about the LDS. So thank you, and I will talk to you on Thursday.